Yeah, so like what is lust? Where does it leave you? What does the Bible talk about lust? Like where does it talk about lust? I've got a few verses here that I think just knock it out of the park, including consequences. But we'll just 1 John 2:16. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. Right? So we know that lust never came from God. Right? It comes from us, comes from the world, right? Then you got 1 Corinthians 6:13. You say, food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. The body, however, is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. So those two verses right there say, we're not meant for that, and it doesn't come from God, it comes from us. That causes lust to occur. So what are the consequences of sex? Romans 8:6. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. James 1:14-15. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Simple as that.
It does.
Lust kills you. Those are the major consequences, because lust is a sin, sin leads to death, right?
They're big consequences, and if they don't lead to death, they at least lead to some disbenefit in life.
Well, talk to us more about that then, like, because that biblically we know that that lust leads to death, but talk about the consequences of daily life, like what happens with that.
Let's really think about,
Because I think this is good.
Let's really think about what you can, if we think of it in daily life, just a basic everyday understand. What are some of the potential consequences of having sex? A, the most obvious one, sure, you can get someone pregnant, you don't want to get pregnant.
Yep.
That's already a terrible start, because now you're not even committed to that. You're willing to walk away.
That's right.
Which is terrible for the kid and for everyone else in the picture.
Absolutely. Sexual transmitted disease.
That was the next one. It's like, what do you expect's going to happen?
Yeah.
You go sleeping with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z.
Yep.
You're bound to catch something.
Absolutely. And then that leads to everything else we just spoke about.
Yeah.
All the disruption comes from lust.
And then they're like, oh, you can just use protection, or you can just take some medicine. It's like, sure, you can. But now you have to go through all these processes. And they're the processes that you shouldn't even remotely trying to be going through.
We shouldn't be taking them. Like,
because they're not meant, they're human made for a reason.
That's right.
Because they're trying to cover up our garbage
That's right.
mistakes.
They're covering our tracks. That's right. Oh, it's okay. You can sin. You'll be okay. No, you'll die. You'll die.
And then you think about, you go into more extreme situations of physical damage in terms of you go sleep with someone else's partner. That person then has an issue with you. If you read truly, you go and have a read of Proverbs. I believe Proverbs 5 speaks about the immoral woman. But really, if you read closely, it's really talking about the unwise male, which is, the woman tries to seduce him, gives him this, and he goes, oh, this looks great. What happens after that? Husband comes home or whatever, you're dead. You're actually dying. You don't just die spiritually, you physically may die in this situation. The whole point is, lust is an act of self.
Yep.
Love is an act of sacrifice. They are two polarizing differences. Lust is the world's, you could say, fake version of love to the spirit.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, here it is. From the lips of an immoral woman drip honey. That in itself is already a bad start, because
it's basically saying your chances aren't looking good because it looks good on the outside.
And her mouth is smoother than oil.
Right.
But in the end, she's bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword.
Sounds like death to me again.
Yeah, if people want to have an image of what I would say, what that's kind of representing, and also what lust from a male would tend to visually be showcased as, the scene in Transformers 1 of Megan Fox fixing the car.
Oh, no.
That is, if people want to know what that is trying to more or less emulate in understanding what that would be a very clear visual understanding of
Such a funny
Damn.
reference.
Damn,
that's
a good
that's
reference.
how
That's a good
and
reference.
It seems you look at it and you say, oh, well, yeah, it seems all good, but you just heard it. Double-edged sword.
Crazy. But look, we know what lust leads to. Literally everything we spoke about before is the consequence of love. The divorce rates, right? The dissociated sex, right?
That's a good way to word it.
the lack of happiness, right, in relationships. It's disgusting though, because it lowers the value of who a man and a woman is, right? And I hate that. It's terrible. It doesn't encapsulate who we are.
Lust is extraction. Your aim is to extract what you want out of that person. That's how you look at it. Yeah. And if that's the case, why would you as a person allow that person
To extract something from you. Like,
why set yourself on fire?
because it's like I'm gonna.
That's how it is.
I'm gonna betray them, and they're gonna betray me, and it's gonna be great.
And that is such a. Do you know what my mate used to say? As he goes to me, he says, "I told him you're using her," and he goes, "Yeah, well, she's using me."
Oh,
It's like, yeah, well, there you go.
I remember this.
That's such
That
a
sounds like a terrific way to do life. right?
extraction.
I know, it's crazy.
But here's the thing, right? Again, it's also a selfish desire. It's a lack of caring for others. Because if you're willing to defile someone else for your own urges, don't come here telling me that you're a good person.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But the key point is, you need to be married.
Yeah, because you can just walk away any point in time with no commitment.